remember the exact figure that he talked about, but he definitely said that at least 350,000 or more that they were looking for reimbursement from the federal government.
Okay, thank you.
So the other two, I left the transfers for these FY18 and FY19. There was two that were left out there. We just wanted to clean up. So it was like $6,000, and I told him I'll just go on and transfer or propose a transfer for those two for those two amounts. So in the future, once he gets those figures back, then I'll come back through the finance committee meeting. We can talk through that to see where he did land after July. The next two are very small amounts. They ended the year with negative. So it's the multi-handicap functional class at the high school and then the high school vocal group. And that was just very small. But so we'll advance that. And then when they are up and running again, they can have their fundraisers and pay us back. The next ones are all either state grants, which high schools that work, or federal grants, and that's the ESSER and all the way down to Title IV. Those are all advance amounts, and those funds were all repaid the general fund back in July, on the first week in July. We'll do an advance coming back into it, but this, we can't end the year with negative, so we had to put the advance for those state and federal funds. So, President Moore, I'm asking for a motion. Yeah, okay.
Okay. I need a motion to accept Treasurer's Item A as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any other questions? Seeing none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Scarrett, am I?
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes.
Okay, B is a resolution to approve the amended appropriations for period ending June 30th, 2020. So I'm going to go down to this document. So this document looks a little different than what you normally see. And the reason why is we actually, for the final one for the year, we use what's exactly on the system. So these are not any estimates. This is exactly what's on the system. So for 2020 appropriations, you can see from general fund all the way down to our miscellaneous grant funds, which includes the 21st century. The total appropriations of $53,427,344.80 are prior fiscal year carryovers. So the total appropriations that I'm asking tonight for you to approve for FY20 is in the amount of $54,281,248 even.
I need a motion to accept Treasurer's Item B as presented.
I'll move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you call the roll?
Yeah. Hold on one second. I was adding Mr. Scarce, so hold on one second. Oops, sorry.
Hi, Jacob. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Mrs. Jeter Freeman.
Yes.
Mr. Scarce.
Yes.
Mr. Andrews.
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman.
Yes.
And Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes.
Okay, the third item, the last item I have two more, is a resolution to approve the permanent appropriation resolution for FY21. So this is the brand new year basically these are estimates to open the year with so that we could start spending money. So I want to show you that. Okay, so I'll go FY21. So and these, like I said, estimates, general fund, I put $40 million there. And these are all based on what we basically spent last year. It's a little less. 018 is the principal's fund. I have $50,000. Our classroom facilities, $300,000. As you go down here, I want to call your attention to the ESSER fund, and that's the CARES Act. And so what I'm asking is $1.788 million that we have we haven't totally received it because we have to submit the invoices for that, but the total appropriation does include 1.7. Keeping in mind 100,000 of that will go to the non-publics. I want to call your attention to 21st Century. This fund now is going to be called 509 for FY21 because we have too many 599s. And so they did change that. So I am estimated that to be the 327, 408, 49. As we go down, $2 million for our bond retirement, permanent improvement to $650,000. Food service, $1.9 million. I just put an estimate. Uniform school supplies, $10,000. We only had $75 that was spent last year. I put $10,000 just in case. The special trust and endowment funds, $3,000 a piece, and those were the scholarships. And then for our check refunds, $10,000, and then student management funds, $10,000. So for FY21, I'm asking for a total appropriation of $51,714,052.24.
I need a motion to accept treasurer's item C as presented.
So move.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Only thing I have is Janice on the enterprise funds class, the uniform school supplies.
Uh-huh.
Said that we had only spent $70.
75, yeah.
$75, and then you want to appropriate $10,000. We got all that money, and we had a bunch of school uniforms and that sort of thing. Is that what that is?
No, it is not. That's something totally different. We have that in the general fund under a special cost center. So I think it's like, maybe if I'm off the top of my head, it's either $15,000 to $20,000 still left in that fund. So no, this was uniform school supplies is when we have to buy like calculators or things that the kids need. Mm-hmm. For that, and then it comes back if they lose a book or whatever, we run the money back through that. And so when Mr. Overson was the superintendent, he deleted all the 009 piece, and none of the kids were charged anything for their uniform school supplies. And they used to be charged for, like, if they had to read a book that was a paperback book, they would have to pay for that. And so we basically, over the last couple of years, we have not used that fund at all, and probably won't use it at all, Ms. Moore. But I just wanted to put some money out there just in case.
Okay. Any other questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Scares,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
and Ms. Moore.
Yes, motion passes. Thank you.
And so I had one other thing I just wanted to show you guys, and I'll try to make this bigger. I just at our finance committee, I did not present a grant funds report because I thought it's better to present it now since we had all the information. And so just wanted to go over this real quick. The first one is special education, and you can kind of like go to the right to see how much was spent. And basically, we did an outstanding job this year. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. We had regular meetings. We had monthly meetings. We had a guy from ESC to sit in on our meetings. We just basically went over the budgets to see if any shortfalls, any problems, and I think you can see that this top half, that all of the funds were spent as much as they should have been. We received today a report that the 21st Century Grant, it used to be if you didn't utilize all the funds, you couldn't get them back, but we got a notification today that they're going to be able to use their $24,000 that's left over for FY21. The I want to explain early childhood. Although our allocation was $236,000, we only spent $116,000 because that equated to the number of students. And I think if I remember, it was 39 students as opposed to 59 that we were allocated for initially. So there's work to be done in that area to make sure that our eligible students are increased from that 39 number. And I'm not sure, they have not dropped in the new early childhood education amount yet. But it's supposed to be coming next week. So I just, in the FY21 piece, I just allocated $100,000 for now. And then of course I increase that as I get more information. But I just put it there for a placeholder. You can see that the other ones, the next two, the high school to work and then the preschool restoration piece, it was 100% spent. And this encumbrances, the purchase orders that are sitting out there to be used. So that's why that grant was 100% spent. You can see the rest of them are at least over 90%. And then, of course, this student wellness and success, we spent 65% of that. And we didn't have to spend all of it, but our initial allocation was $622,000. I'm waiting to see through the state foundation if we get the $896,000 that we're supposed to get for FY21. But for FY20, we spent 65% of that grant, and that extra $200,000, it will be used next year for different things like mental health and social workers and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to show you guys that as an information item. And so I'm finished with my report.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Allen? Okay, then we'll go ahead and move to item 3, superintendent's report.
You're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I just have 2 items. The first one is a correction of an administrative contract. We have Assistant Principal Dewana Coleman. We need to adjust by 1 day her contract. She's supposed to get paid for 212 days. She got paid for 211. So I'm asking that we allow her to be paid for that extra day.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to accept superintendent's item personnel agenda as presented.
So moved. So moved.
I have
Second.
a motion and a second. Any questions? Being none, Ms. Allen, will you please call the roll? You're on mute too.
Ms. Moore, may I ask Dr. Cosby? Dr. Cosby, wasn't there a second item on the personnel agenda?
Yes. I didn't know. Can they do them both at the same time?
Yeah, both of them were part of the action item.
Okay.
I only see one on my agenda.
There is
I'm
a
sorry.
second
You
one that came on to, maybe it was today.
Okay, I didn't see that. So I only have an item A, which is the personnel agenda. So were there 2 items under the
Yeah,
personnel agenda?
It's an A2 as well.
Okay, what?
This one is, this is a staff member. This is a recommendation for approval of the following certified non-renewal. So we're asking to non-renew one of the high school teachers, effective June 30th, 2020. This was a certification issue. He's aware of this, but we have to have it approved by the,
Madam President,
Yes.
just for the record, they have to be separate items now. We already have a motion on the floor.
Well, actually, you know what? The motion was correct, actually, for the one personnel agenda item, and they both were on that one item.
Oh, I got
A1 and A2. Yeah, I thought there was a separate item like U2, but then when I looked, that's why I didn't call for a separate motion. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, thank you, Dr. Cosby. Okay. So what I will do for the record, okay, is for the record, we want to make sure that superintendent, the superintendent report, item A, personnel agenda, consisted of A1, which is the correction of the following administrative contract, and that was 1 day difference for Duana Coleman, and then item A2 was the recommendation for the approval of the following certified non-renewal. Okay? Absolutely. Okay. Ms. Allen? You're on mute.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mr. Spears,
Yes.
Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
and Miss Moore.
Yes. Motion passes. Item A is complete. Next item up is an executive session. I need a motion to turn into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, or compensation of public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regular individual per Board of Education Policy 0166 and ORC 121.22 G1 and B. Discuss the details relative to the security arrangements and emergency response protocols for a public body or public office per ORC 121.22 G6. Official action may be taken.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Oh, okay. Are there any questions? Alan, will you please call the roll?
I think I have this right. Mrs. Jeter Freeman,
Yes.
Mrs. Bozeman,
Yes.
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
Mr. Spears,
Yes.
and Miss Moore.
Yes, motion passes. We will adjourn into executive session. It is 5:55 p.m. Thank you, Luke. We appreciate it. And also we appreciate